The origin of Rastafarianism began with the colonization of Africa, aka Ethiopia, by the Europeans. The Europeans took Africans as slaves and divided them up and sent them to exile as captives throughout the world. These areas of captivity became known as Babylon. This exile marked as the suspension of culture by whites. The Rastafarians believe that suppression of the blacks will soon end and they will return to Ethiopia. Rastafarianism first developed in the 1930s among working class black people of Jamaica. This first movement began as a social stance against middle class whites and saw them as oppressors. The people of Jamaica felt robbed of their African heritage when they were sent to the Caribbean by slave traders. They want to and believe they can recapture Ethiopia. Founder of the Rastafarian religion is a man named Marcus Garvey. He started the first Rastafari movement in 1930. He is a black political leader, and he started an organization called Universal Negro Improvement Association that unifies blacks with their homelands. The first leader of the Rastafarian religion is Haile Selassie. He is an Ethiopian emperor and is also called the Black Messiah. Leonard Howell is one of the most famous founders because he created the first Rastafarian community. Main contributors to the foundation of the religion are Joseph Hibbert, Robert Hines, Archibald Dunkley, and Almond.
Rastafarians believe God is a spirit and can be in human form. They believe Emperor Haile Selassie is the second coming of Jesus. As well, also, they don't believe in afterlife, but instead look to Africa as heaven on earth. They believe in the concept of ever living, which means they are immortal physically and spiritually. They want to resist and destroy Babylon for what it did to the blacks. They believe God will return them to Zion, and they believe Ethiopia is the promised land. Rastafarians believe they are the original lost tribes of Israel that were once scattered by Babylon. When a baby is born, the baby gets blessed by the elders in the community during the Nyabingi session, which includes drumming and chanting. In marriage, there is no formal marriage ceremony. If a man and woman are living together and are not related, they are considered husband and wife. It is a social occasion rather than a religious event. And when someone dies, there is no funeral service because they believe.
Four symbols that reflect the components of Rastafari religion is Haile Selassie, marijuana, dreadlocks, and reparation. Haile Selassie is symbolized as a god and a creator. Marijuana, or ganja, or herb, is symbolized as a barrier between a person's surface consciousness and the deep layers of awareness. Dreadlocks symbolize natural roots, cosmic antennas, a lion's mane, judge's wool, priestly garment, ancient crown, or just simply a hairstyle worn by men and women once looked at as ugly, but now is rich and beautiful.
Repatriation symbolizes Africa as the homeland for the Rastafarian people. Ethiopian Christmas, which is celebrated January 7th and has been celebrated since 330 AD, is a Christmas celebration celebrated with a large feast of vegan or vegetarian dishes. Also, prophecies and readings are done by the Nyabingi people. Groundation Day, which is April 21st, marks the date when Haile Selassie visited Jamaica in 1966. Nyabingi music and prayer chanting is followed. Ethiopian Constitution Day, which is celebrated July 16th, is the celebration of Ethiopia's first constitution signed by Selassie in 1931. It remembers the history of Ethiopia and events that led up to the birth of the Rastafarian religion. Nyabingi follows in honor of the importance of Ethiopia. The birthday of Emperor Haile Selassie, which is July 23rd, is just the celebration of the day the emperor was born. Marcus Garvey's birthday, which is August 17th, is also celebrated. Ethiopian New Year's Day, which is September 11th, is the start of a new year in Ethiopia because Rastafarians believe it is their spiritual homeland. Biblical passages and prayer are recited and Nyabingi session is held. The crowning of Emperor Haile Selassie, which was November 2nd, commemorates coronations of Rastafari as Haile Selassie is named King of Ethiopia in 1930. Highest priest reads biblical passages, sings songs to emphasize importance of Haile Selassie as Messiah, and Nyabingi session is also held to remember him. There are about 1 million followers of the Rastafari religion. In the Rastafari religion, there is no specific place of worship. Members usually meet up weekly at a believer's home or community center. There are 7 branches of Rastafari. The 3 most popular are the 12 tribes of Israel, Bobo Ashanti, and Nyabingi. The 12 tribes of Israel is based on Hope Road in Kingston, Jamaica. The group was formed in 1968 by Vernon Carrington. The 12 tribes are based on the teachings of the Holy Bible, particularly in the books of Genesis and Numbers and Torah. It is the most liberal of the Rastafarian orders, and members are free to worship in a church of their choosing. Each member of this sect belongs to one of the 12 tribes or houses, which is determined by Gregorian birth month and is represented by a color, a part of the body, and a character trait, often called a faculty. Bob Marley was one of the famous people a part of this. Bobo Ashanti, which is also called the Ethiopian International Congress, is based in the Bull Bay near Kingston, Jamaica. The Bobo Ashanti are one of the strictest mansions of Rastafari. They cover their dreadlocks with turbans and wear long robes. The Bobo Ashanti are all strictly vegan and stick to their biblical restrictions regarding their vow. They also adhere to a strict communal life where women are separated from men. Nyabingi is the oldest of the mansions of Rastafari, and it is also the strictest. They pledge love to all human beings and do not believe in violence. Nyabingi was a legendary Ugandan-Rwandan tribe queen. Jamaica is the cultural hearth of Rastafari. Rastafarianism spread through natural diffusion and migration to centers of the Caribbean and throughout the world, especially in UK and the United States. Another key part of its growth in popularity is with reggae music. Also, its most famous member, Bob Marley, helped with the globalization of the religion.
The Rastafarian religion is practiced around the world in small quantities. It is mainly practiced in Jamaica, parts of the Caribbean, and parts of the UK and the United States. Since Rastafarians are monotheists, their key figure of worship is a singular God whom they call Jah. Rastas view Jah in the form of the Holy Trinity, which is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Rastas say that Jah, in the form of the Holy Spirit, lives within a human. Jah does not provide eternal salvation like a Christian God, but they do believe that Jah has been reincarnated in humans. Important people within the Rastafarian religion are Haile Selassie, who was an emperor of Ethiopia from 1930 to 1974. Rastafarians believe that he will lead them to creating a perfect world called Zion. They also consider him to be a reincarnation of Christ. They see Haile Selassie as being worthy of worship for having stood with great dignity in front of the world's press and representatives of many powerful nations. Menon Osfat and Marcus Garvey are also important to the religion because they both led pro-African movements which helped the Rastafarian religion develop. Sacred writings of the Rastafarian religion include the Holy Pibbi, which is a proto-Rastafarian text written by Robert Athley Rogers in 1931. This, also known as the Black Man's Bible, the Holy Pibbi saw Ethiopians as the chosen people of God. There are 4 books contained in this sacred writing. The Holy Pibbi is today recognized as a root document of the Rastafarian thought. The Ethiopian national epic is like the national anthem of Ethiopia. And lastly, the Kebra Nagast is the Bible of the Rastafarian religion. When reciting parts of this book, herb is smoked to get into deep thought about what it's saying. There are not very many holy places in the Rastafarian religion, but the 3 holy places are Israel, Africa, and Somalia, Jamaica. Death rituals don't really apply to the Rastafarian religion. Rastafarians don't really have a death ceremony. They believe that life comes after death. They believe that life is eternal, so that when the person dies, they will be reincarnated into another person.